The sonar operator's hands froze over his console when he saw the signature. "Captain, I've got multiple diesel contacts. Submerged. Range 4,000 yards. They're surrounding us." Lieutenant Commander Sarah Mitchell looked at the tactical display aboard USS Tempest. Her small patrol ship was being boxed in by 3 Iranian submarines. Not surface boats. Submarines. In the cargo hold behind her, electronic warfare equipment worth hundreds of millions. Intelligence assets that could decrypt Iranian military communications across the entire region. Equipment that Tehran had been desperately trying to locate for months. She reached for the secure communications panel. One encrypted burst transmission that would either bring salvation or confirm they were already dead. Persian Gulf, June 23, 2025. 2:14 p.m. 1 patrol ship. 3 enemy submarines closing from below. And 48 minutes that would prove why attacking American vessels is always, a fatal mistake. And I'm taking you inside every decision, every moment of fear, every split-second choice that determined who lived and who died. Let me ask you something. What's scarier, an enemy you can see, or an enemy hunting you from beneath the waves? Commander Mitchell had been tracking suspicious underwater activity for the past hour. Faint diesel signatures. Brief transients. The kind of acoustic patterns that suggested submarines trying very hard not to be detected. Iran's Kilo-class submarines were old, but they were quiet. When running on batteries, they could disappear into the thermal layers, becoming nearly invisible to conventional sonar. And now 3 of them had positioned themselves in a perfect kill triangle around her ship. The cargo vessel Tempest was escorting, Pacific Guardian, was a converted intelligence ship. Looked civilian from the outside. But inside? Signal intelligence technicians were frantically encrypting data, preparing to destroy equipment if capture became imminent. One technician later told me, and her voice shook when she said this, "We had thermite charges ready. If they boarded us, we were going to burn everything. Better to destroy it than let them have it." But Iran had learned from previous failures. No surface boats this time. No visible attack that could be photographed. Just silent hunters closing from below, planning to surface simultaneously, overwhelm the patrol ship with numbers before help could arrive. What Iran didn't know, USS Tempest wasn't traveling alone. 60 feet below Tempest, holding at depth and running silent, was something Iran never detected. USS Oklahoma City, a Los Angeles-class attack submarine that had been shadowing Tempest's route for 2 days. Not as escort. As trap. U.S. naval intelligence had intercepted Iranian communications suggesting an underwater ambush. Rather than reroute Tempest, they'd made a different calculation. Let Iran commit their submarines. Then eliminate them. Commander James Torres aboard Oklahoma City had been listening to those 3 Iranian kilos for 90 minutes. His sonar team had classified each one. Tracked their movements. Calculated firing solutions. "Captain," his weapons officer whispered, "all 3 contacts have flooded their torpedo tubes. They're preparing to surface." Torres nodded slowly. "Maintain silent running. Do not counterflood." Not yet. This was the gamble. If Oklahoma City revealed herself too early, the Iranian submarines might retreat. If she waited too long, Tempest could be boarded before intervention was possible. At 2:16 p.m., Commander Mitchell transmitted her encrypted burst, underwater contacts. 3 submarines. Preparing defensive measures. The message reached 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain within seconds. It also reached USS Oklahoma City 60 feet below. Torres made his decision. Weapon status? For Mark 48 torpedoes loaded. Solutions locked on all 3 contacts. Stand by. Let them surface. I want them committed. No escape. At 2:18 p.m., all 3 Iranian submarines began emergency surface maneuvers simultaneously. The Persian Gulf erupted as thousands of tons of steel punched through the surface. Water cascading off hulls. Hatches opening. Armed Revolutionary Guard sailors pouring onto deck with rifles and RPGs. The lead Iranian submarine, Tarek, surfaced just 500 yards from Tempest's port side. Revolutionary Guard commandos immediately began deploying rigid, inflatable boats. Commander Mitchell watched through binoculars. 30 men. Maybe 40. All armed. Moving with military precision. She keyed her radio. Iranian vessels, this is United States Navy. You are conducting hostile actions in international waters. Stand down immediately. The Iranian response came in accented English. American ship, you are transporting stolen intelligence equipment. You will surrender your vessel and cargo. This is not negotiable. One submarine surfaced. Then another. The third rose 300 yards off Tempest's starboard side. The patrol ship was surrounded. Trapped. Iranian inflatable boats launched, motors screaming, racing toward Tempest through choppy seas. Mitchell's executive officer looked at her. Captain, we can't fight 3 submarines and their crews. We're outnumbered 50 to 1. She smiled grimly. We don't have to fight them. We just have to survive for 90 seconds. This is where everything changes. Stay with me. At 2:19 p.m., USS Oklahoma City counterflooded her torpedo tubes. The acoustic transient was like ringing a bell underwater. Every Iranian submarine heard it instantly. Their sonar operators' faces went white as they processed what that sound meant. There was an American attack submarine right beneath them. They'd sailed directly over it. Commander Torres's voice was calm. Fire tubes 1 through 4. For Mark 48 ADCAP torpedoes launched in rapid succession. Wire-guided. Active/passive seeker heads. Closing at 45 knots. The Iranian submarines were surfaced, the worst possible position for a submarine under attack. Their hulls were exposed. Their speed was minimal. They couldn't dive quickly enough to escape. The Iranian captain aboard Tarek screamed orders, emergency dive. Emergency dive. Too late. The first Mark 48 struck Tarek amidships at 2:20 p.m. The explosion was catastrophic. The pressure hull ruptured. Seawater flooded. Internal compartments at crushing pressure. The submarine began sinking stern first, her bow rising out of the water at a terrible angle. The second torpedo struck the submarine Fateh. Same result. Massive explosion. Hull breach. Men screaming. The vessel going down fast. The third Iranian submarine, Ghadar, attempted to crash dive. Her captain made the desperate choice to go deep, hoping to evade the incoming torpedo. The Mark 48 followed her down. Its active seeker pinging, tracking, adjusting. At 400 feet depth, the torpedo detonated against Ghadar's hull. At that depth, the explosion was even more devastating. The pressure hull collapsed like a crushed can. All hands lost instantly. 3 submarines. 3 torpedoes. 3 kills in under 60 seconds. Can you imagine being on those Iranian boats watching this? Drop your reaction below. The Iranian commandos in their inflatable boats suddenly found themselves without support. Their submarines were sinking. No naval backup. No extraction plan. They were alone in the middle of the Persian Gulf, facing an American patrol ship that was no longer outnumbered. Commander Mitchell's voice rang across the water through loudspeakers. "Iranian forces, your submarines are destroyed. You are alone. Surrender immediately or we will engage." Some Iranian boats tried to retreat. Others circled in confusion. Their radios were filled with panicked voices. Contradictory orders. Chaos. At 2:22 p.m., 4 MH-60R Seahawk helicopters arrived overhead, launched from destroyers that had been racing toward the engagement. Then 12 F/A-18 Super Hornets appeared at altitude. The sonic booms echoed across the water like thunder. One Iranian boat commander made a desperate decision. He opened fire on Tempest with his rifle, futile, desperate act of defiance. Mitchell didn't hesitate. Engage hostile craft. Weapons free. The Seahawks opened up with door-mounted machine guns. Precision fire that shredded the Iranian inflatable boats. Within 30 seconds, the threat was neutralized. Survivors were pulled from the water by American rescue swimmers. Injured combatants received immediate medical treatment aboard Tempest. This wasn't revenge. This was professional military operation conducted with precision and, when possible, mercy. But destroying 3 submarines wasn't enough. Not for what Iran had attempted. At 2:25 p.m., Admiral Warner at 5th Fleet Headquarters made his assessment. Iran just committed 3 submarines to an attack on U.S. vessels. That's not harassment. That's coordinated military operation. We respond accordingly. Authorization came from CENTCOM within minutes. Execute contingency strikes against Iranian submarine facilities and command infrastructure. USS Milius and USS Dewey, the destroyers that had launched the Seahawks, were already in position. Tomahawk missiles in vertical launch cells. Target coordinates preloaded. At 2:30 p.m., dozens of Tomahawk cruise missiles launched. The sound was like controlled thunder rolling across the Gulf. Primary targets: Bandar Abbas Submarine Base, dry docks, maintenance facilities, command bunkers, torpedo storage. The infrastructure that allowed Iran to operate submarines. Secondary targets: coastal radar stations, communications facilities, naval headquarters buildings. At 2:48 p.m., the missiles struck. Submarine pens collapsed. Dry docks destroyed. Maintenance workshops obliterated. Torpedo storage bunkers, filled with weapons, exploded. In massive secondary detonations, the Iranian submarine base at Bandar Abbas ceased to exist as an operational facility. Let me give you the timeline. The cold facts of what just happened. 2:14 p.m. 3 Iranian submarines surface around USS Tempest, attempting coordinated capture operation. 2:20 p.m., 6 minutes later. USS Oklahoma City destroys all 3 Iranian submarines with torpedo strikes. 0 American casualties. 2:22 p.m., Iranian commando teams in inflatable boats neutralized by helicopter gunships. Survivors captured. 2:48 p.m., Iranian submarine base and naval command. Infrastructure destroyed by Tomahawk strikes. 3:02 p.m., 48 minutes after the engagement began. All hostilities ended. Results: 3 Iranian submarines sunk. Dozens of Iranian naval personnel killed or captured. Iranian submarine base destroyed. U.S. patrol ship Tempest undamaged. Cargo secured. 0 American casualties. Iran attempted their most sophisticated attack yet, coordinated submarine ambush of American vessels. They deployed 3 submarines. Dozens of commandos. Planned for months. And they were annihilated in 48 minutes. The strategic impact was immediate and devastating. Iran's submarine force was effectively eliminated. The 3 kilos lost represented half their operational submarine capability. The base destruction meant they couldn't maintain or operate the remaining vessels effectively. But the psychological impact was even greater. Iran had believed their submarines could operate undetected in the Persian Gulf. That American patrol ships were vulnerable targets. They learned the hard way: American vessels never operate alone. Even when you can't see the support, it's there. Watching. Waiting. Ready. Operation Tidal Shield proved something that needed proving. You can't ambush American vessels. Not with surface boats. Not with submarines. Not with any conventional military force. Because every time you think you've found a vulnerability, you're actually walking into a trap. Commander Mitchell and her crew on Tempest did exactly what they needed to do: hold position, buy time, trust that help was coming. Commander Torres and his crew on Oklahoma City executed a perfect submarine ambush, turning the hunters into the hunted in under 60 seconds. The helicopter crews, fighter pilots, and destroyer captains who finished the job demonstrated the overwhelming response that comes with attacking American forces. June 23, 2025. Persian Gulf. 2:14 p.m. 3 Iranian submarines thought they were springing a trap. 3:02 p.m. 48 minutes later. They learned traps work both ways. This community has grown to thousands because you engage. You comment. You share. You make this more than just a channel, you make it a conversation. Until the next one, stay sharp, stay informed, and remember that the best warriors are the ones you never see coming. See you soon.